Today we'll be working on our door and power window relay design and also mocking up some brackets for the heater control valve and some switches. So this is what it looks like when you start designing your wiring. It's just mass chaos. That's great. So what I got going on here is a new HVAC sheet that goes through all the wires that I have to do for the trinary switch and the fan switch and all that kind of stuff. And then I started working as just scratch, but I started working on wireless door poppers and courtesy light switches. So when you open up the doors, the lights turn on. What's interesting about this is I was saying I had to switch out my regular up and down switches with something like this. It's momentary. And so that will make it go up. And then I got another one, push it, it will go down. And so the way this works is this just triggers a ground signal for this reverse relay. So you got your motor out here, you got your power down here, and then you just have a ground trigger that comes up here, and then you momentary hit this one and the window will go up, and you momentary hit that one, will go down. So we got all that. Then same thing on this side. However, on this side, I have some diodes and triggers going into my wireless system. So I think I mentioned before that if you're on a trailer or something, you can't open up the door and you need to get out of the car, or you need to be able to get into the car, you could use a remote. And so I got two more channels on here, and I could choose one to ground out this signal, one to ground out that signal, which will turn on the relay and roll down the window. So that will only be on the driver's side. If I had 6 channels or something, I could do both, but this is actually a real simple, easy way to just pop that in and control it. Then what we have is the door popper system. So the door popper system is actually coming from the wireless remote. There's not going to be any door popper switches in the car. It's going to be manually to get out of the car for safety reasons. And then we'll talk about more safety in a second. So power comes down here, flips a relay, and you could either, if I want to, I could put a hidden switch somewhere as a safety backup to pop that. But it's going to be controlled by the wireless to trigger the relay to pop the solenoid. Same thing on the other side. The only difference is this doesn't have a switch. If I decide to put that in, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll just have a manual pull or something like that. So not sure if I want to be electronic. The other thing is I tried contacting this company that I got the wireless from, and they just don't answer. Or they're like, oh, great, did you buy the system? It's like, can you answer my question? I think it's a language barrier. So the way around that is when the car actually turns on, the ignition turns on, you disable the unit and it's not powered. So you got ignition triggering the relay. The relay normally closed has power, so you could unlock your car and do what you need to do while the car's not started. But once the car started, this opens up, kills the power to the wireless, and no issues there. And you don't have to worry about memory because it's built into the wireless. It stays. So that's it. And so out of all this, then you got 3 wires here, 3 wires here. You have a power wire, you have 2 grounds, and then on your courtesy lights, you have 2 ground wires coming to the back too. So when you add all that up, you got a 10 wire plus 1 power. And so I'm going to either get like a 10 or a 12 count multi-pin cable that I could run down and then split it out and do all my relays and everything like that. All my grounds back here, besides the triggering grounds, but the actual real grounds, they could just be grounded in the back of the car. I don't have to worry about running that back up. So that's kind of a a sketch outline of what I'm going to be doing, and took me a while to kind of get to that, but it makes sense now for me. And so I need to buy that cable. Maybe Home Depot or somebody has that in their raw wire spools that they have, and I can get stranded wire. So, any case, that's what the last few hours was, doing this. So today has been hours and hours of more theory, trips to the store, in and out, measurements, like craziness. And I went to buy some multi-pin cable, and I asked for stranded, and the guy gave me solid wire. And of course, I had to go back to the store, and then the guy sat there for 20 minutes, and I'm looking at his inventory, and I'm like, you don't have it, dude. Gotta go. Like, jeez, it's not that hard. So I guess I'm gonna have to make my own loom or double check electronics store on Monday, but kind of blows the weekend on that stuff. I did get an extra water temp sensor that I'm going to install so I could just button some stuff up, get it off the plate. So I'm going to do that right this second. Okay, so you're probably asking, why do I have two water temperature sensors? And as I explained a few videos ago, one is for the computer. This is actually for the computer. And then one is actually directly wired to my gauges. And so I had to custom make that harness to go back for my gauges, plug it into the main harness, so that way it goes into the dash harness straight to the gauges. Luckily, on the LS engine, the heads are exactly the same on either side, so that meant I had a hole available to put a second temperature sensor in, so good to go on that side. Alright, so here's the bracket for my heater control valve. So that goes in there, if you will. And so I'm going to mount mine vertical. Normally it'd be like on top of the engine, horizontal, but I'm going to mount mine below the engine and have it vertical, which means I need to take this part off and then reattach it here. And then this, I'm going to keep the bend in for, for stability. And then I'm just going to, chop it off here. So I need to make 3 cuts actually. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So there's my piece. I need to just pop that together like that. And then what's cool is I could actually rivet into the frame this way, and there's also holes there to rivet into the frame below, so I could get a really nice solid lock. And like I said before, I kept this angle up here, which keeps this thin little bracket up here nice and stout with that angle bend holding it together. So So I wanted to show you I made a little dash plate to put some switches in. And what that looks like is right here. I'll go in there and then I could have my headlight switch and some other stuff. And I actually, I only need 2 switches, but I put 3 holes because I could put a rubber, placeholder there in case I forget something and or in the future want to add something to the car, could just pop it in there. So it's kind of an insurance plan. And we were talking about maybe, you could see that there's metal coming on on an angle coming down, and I could either weld this in or I could pop rivet it in. I think at this point, pop rivet's probably the best. It's just going to be hard getting in there, so I don't know if I can install this until after the body's off the car. That's just probably not worth it. All this stuff is thick enough steel that it's just, using a right angle drill is, you're not going to have enough leverage to get in there and get stuff accurate and all that. So I'd rather drill from the outside of the car in, which would be really easy with the body off. So, but I figured I'd just get this stuff finished so I know where it's going and it's ready to go.